Shalom, 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 brothers and sisters. This is your brother KhazaqYah, priest KhazaqYah, servant of the Most High Yah. Today, we're going to have a discussion with regards to the topic of Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau. Now, the reason why I'm doing this particular study is because I have a family member on yesterday. We had a conversation, and the conversation was he had come to the knowledge that he was an Israelite, and I kind of mentioned in the process of our conversating, I should say, that Esau, there was a popular teaching that Esau was a so-called white man. He said, well, I believe that. So we got off into a subject for discussing on that. So he wanted me to prove to him that Esau was not the so-called white man. So we're doing this study to deal with the subject matter with regards to that topic, Esau being a so-called white man. So I want you to stick with us for this particular sharing as we do our best to try to explain our position with regards to the scriptures. And I want to say that all of our knowledge should come from not trying to make the scriptures, to interpret the scriptures to make it mean what we want to make it mean, but it should come from the perspective of the scriptures itself without having to add anything or take anything away from it. Now, we do believe in using the other books, and the other books is basically an aid to the scriptures. So it's not going to contradict the scriptures, but it's going to add to. So whenever we find something that might contradict the scriptures, we know to take that with a grain of salt. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to start with our dear brother. Now, this brother that we're going to be dialoguing with via the web. This is not a live debate, but this is actually a video commentary on his teaching on the subject. So this particular video was done back in 2015. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started with this particular sharing. Now, by way of announcement, the brother that this video had produced this video is his brother Bishop, I should say. He's known as Bishop Nathaniel from the IUIC, which stands for Israel United in Christ. So we're going to dialogue with him. Let me get a little closer to my set here. And we're going to dialogue with him, listen to what he has to say about the subject matter. And we're going to share some things. We're going to compare some things that he says from the scripture to see if it lines up with what the scripture is saying, what he's trying to present. Okay. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and let brother Bishop Nathaniel begin.
King Solomon said he's black, okay? All you black women using Ambi. I need to get Ambi. I got to lighten my skin. You foolish group of people.
Okay.
Now, from there, let's get into some history about Jacob.
Okay, here we go right here.
The so-called white man today. Let's find out according to Bible prophecy, according to biblical reference, not according to how I feel. See, that's one thing you're going to find out about us, brothers and sisters. We don't go on emotion. We don't go about how we feel or what we think. We're going to come out the Bible.
Okay.
Let's go to.
So we're going to test that to see if that's true. He said he's going to come out the Bible. Okay.
Genesis, please. Genesis chapter 25. Let's start at verse 19 about Jacob and Esau.
The book of Genesis chapter 25, verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Panaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren.
So Isaac wanted to have a child. He wanted his wife to have a child. Come on.
Okay, hold on a second. I just want to make a note here. Now, if we look at this passage he's reading, 25, and he talked about Isaac took a wife, or Isaac took a wife, and the wife was the daughter, I should say, the sister of Laban. Now, Laban, just a little side note. If you look at the word Laban is a word that's developed from 3836, which is, let's see if I can do this here. Where's my 3636? Give me 1 second here. 3836. 3836 says Laban, which means white, from Laban means white. So I want to say later on in this video, he's going to say something that I'm going to kind of reiterate on, but Laban actually means white. So the brother of Rebecca, Rebecca, I'm going to try to use the English name instead of using Hebrew name to confuse you. If I do use a Hebrew name, I will correct it. Now, one thing I want to add is when I read the scriptures, I will not replace the Most High's name with those substitutions. I will use Yah or Yah, or Yahweh or Yahoo or something like that, but I won't use those other substitutions. So you know what we're talking about, right? Okay, now, so it says Laban was the brother of Rebecca, who was the wife of Esau. Okay, let's continue.
And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived.
Meaning she got pregnant. Rebecca got pregnant.
And the children struggled together within her.
And the children, plural, the children struggled together within her. Go ahead.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
If God has blessed me, she asked, then why am I having this trouble in my belly here? Come on.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
I want you to pay close attention. Remember those children that was struggling in her womb? It says 2 nations. What does this mean? That Genesis, what does the word Genesis mean? It means beginning. In Genesis 25, this is the beginning of 2 nations upon the earth. This is the beginning here. Read it again.
And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated.
And 2 manner of people, meaning 2 different types of people. Read that part.
Okay, now, so he said 2 manner, which means 2 different types of people. So let's see if it says that. It said 2 nations are in thy womb, right? It says 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, right? Okay, and one other shall be stronger than the other. The one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So now, by looking at that, we can see that it says 2 manners, not 2 types. So if we look at this phrase that says manner, see, I have highlighted it with my mouse, my cursor. This phrase 2 manner, it comes from the word le'om. You look down at the bottom here. I'm going to show you where my mouse. See that? It says le'om, which means to gather, a community, 2 communities, right? So 2 manner of people would be 2 different communities, right? Not so much that 2 different types of people, but 2 different communities, right? So that's what that word, the 2 manner. Now, the word 2 itself, if you look at 2, is Strong's 8147, which is shanayim, which means it says from the first form from being dual of 21 or 8145, the second form being feminine 2 or twofold, right? So if we look at this 8145 over here, it says 8145, which is shani, which means double or second, also again, right? Which is also from 8138. So let's go up to 8138. And we see a shana, which it means twofold, that is duplicate or transmute. So basically what it's simply saying is that twins, is telling her that she has twins. She's having twins. She didn't know she had 2 kids inside of her. It's basically telling her that they're twins. That's what's going on. So that's basically all that's saying. That's not saying 2 different types of people. It's saying that she had twins, 2 different sons, right? Or 2 different, in this particular case, 2 sons. Let's just stick with that, right? So that's what that 2 means. Two manner of people just means she had 2 different children inside her womb that were going to bring forth 2 different nations or 2 different communities or 2 families. It's going to come as a result of that birth of that twin children she has. That's all it's saying. We can't add to it. We can't make it say something it's not saying. It's not saying two different types of people, right? Okay, let's go back.
Again, two manner.
And two manner of people.
I want you to understand that two manner. It don't mean that they are identical. It says two manner of people, two different types of people.
Okay, I beg to differ with that because we just proved that they were twins. It didn't say they were not. Now he's going to mention and say that they are not identical, but they're fraternal. But doesn't say it doesn't. It's not going to say. It doesn't say that in the text that they were not identical. As a matter of fact, it's more strongly leading to the fact that they were twins. Now they may have had some differences as far as to like what we're going to see in this particular description of the child, right? But they're going to be actually twin brothers. One's just going to have a different type of tonation in the color, but they look alike. It's just like two people that come from the same father. One, like I have a brother, he's darker than me, and we weren't born at the same time, but sometimes when people look at us, they say, you know, you look just like your dad, right? And my brother looks like my dad. So that's saying we look alike. Okay. Now, exactly alike meaning you can't tell the two apart. Okay. A twin doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that looks exactly like the person where you can't tell them apart. I know plenty of twins like that look alike. They have some differences, but they are twins. They look alike. Okay. Be that as it may, let's continue.
Shall be separated.
Shall be what?
Shall be separated.
Say join together.
Shall be separated from thy bowels.
Go ahead.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other.
So one of these people that's going to come out of Rebekah is going to be stronger than the other people. Go ahead.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
The elder child, meaning the firstborn child, is prophesied to be a slave to the younger child. Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled,
meaning her 9 months,
behold, they were twins in her womb.
Now, were they identical twins? No, because we read earlier, two manner of people shall be separated.
So we just proved that the two manner of people, as I said, once again, the manner doesn't mean two different types of people, but the word manner, once again, let's flip it up on the screen. The word manner, two, it says two, the two means a duplicate. Manner of people just means what? Two different children that's going to create or to establish or develop two different nations, not two different races, two different nations. So in other words, he's going to have a tribe called the tribe of Esau. Jacob's going to have a tribe called the tribe of Jacob or Jacob. Jacob has his family. He has his family reunion. He marries off with these other families and they have their reunion. Okay. When they have their gatherings, Esau's going to have he'll have his wives. And if they have their family reunions, they'll have their family reunions. And then when they get together with their father, they'll have a family reunion with the father, which will bring all of them together. Right. But they will have two different families or communities of people that comes out of her womb. That's simply all that's saying. Okay, let's continue.
So they are not identical, they're fraternal. Go ahead.
And the first came out red.
The first child what?
Came out red.
Now remember, it said the elder would serve the younger in the verse above. The elder child, meaning the firstborn child, is prophesied to be a slave to the younger one.
Okay.
Read it again.
Verse 25. And the first came out red.
The first came out what color?
And the first came out red, all over, like an hairy garment.
So this first child came out red, meaning the blood it had red skin. The blood showed forth through its skin.
Okay, so if that's his point, that the so-called white man is Esau because he had red skin and the blood showed to his face, can I show you something real quick? Okay. Let's do it. Let's go to our scriptures. And now we're going to look at that word that says red, right? Okay. The first one came out red. See this word here, red? Okay. The word for red is Adoni. Adoni, right? And Adoni is defined as what? Adam. is from Adam, reddish of the hair or complexion, ruddy, red hair. Now, I have red hair when my hair grows out. It's a reddish color. Okay. I don't look like Wolfman Jack. I have hair on my arms, right? We're going to deal with that in a minute, but I was born red. Okay. So it's all saying Esau was born red. So now we look at this red. Red is not white. We're going to show you the difference between white. We already showed you one word, which is Laban, which means white. But this word here, red, does not mean white. And he's going to cover that a little later on in his video presentation. But for the sake of time, I want you to see this. I'm going to show you real quickly. We're going to get back to the video. OK, so red is the word admoni, which is come from the word 119. So look at the screen now. So 119. If we go to 119 over here. Uh-oh, I messed up. Let's do the skin. Hold on a second. Got too much going on. Okay, so if we go to 119, okay, the word Adam, it says to show blood in the face, that is flush or turn rosy, right? So now Adam's name, I'm just going to say this just for the sake of it, right? Let's go in here. Let's put in Adam. Okay, and now once you look at Adam, we can go right there and we're going to come back to Genesis 25. Okay, let's do that again. I messed up some kind of way. Okay, Adam, it says right here. Adam 121. Adam. Okay. The same as 120. So we got 120. All right. So if we go to 120, right? All right. 119, 120. Okay. So 120 means this is Adam. Okay. It's from 119, which is what? Ruddy, right? That is human being, individual species, mankind, ruddy. So Adam, the son, the first man called Adam was, his name means to be ruddy, right? Which is from 119. So now going back, this red here, 25, it said the first one came out red is the red admoni, which goes all the way back to the 119, which is the word Adam, which means to show blood in the face. So on that analogy, that would make Adam a so-called white man based on his teaching, right? So is Adam the first man a white man? You tell me. He's not. But using your logic, that would make Adam white, right? Now I'm going to show you a couple other places in the scriptures where you'll see, let's look at this word ruddy, because ruddy also means red, right? Which goes back to the same root word. So we have four places here where we see ruddy. We see 1 Samuel 16 and 12, right? 1 Samuel 16 and 12, where it describes King David as being ruddy, right? It says, and he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance and goodly to look upon. So the word for him, it says ruddy. So look at that right there. We see it says what? Admoni. 119, H119, which is reddish of the hair of the complexion, which goes back to the root. Look at that where it says from 119, which is what? Adam, which means to show blood in the face. Okay. One other place, 1 Samuel 17:42, we see here also David is described again as being ruddy, right? 132, same word, admoni, which goes back to 119, which is what? Adam, which means what? To show blood in the face. Okay. Next, we see Song of Solomon 5 and 10, where Solomon is described as being ruddy. My beloved is white and ruddy. The white word is not the same word for white, but this word means to be sunny, bright, dazzling, evident, right? So the white just simply means to be perky, not in complexion, but it says here, he's white and ruddy. Okay, ruddy means to be rosy and red. That's Adam, right? 122, they use a different word this time, which goes back to the same root word, which is Adam or Adam, which means 119, which means to show blood in the face. So we have David or David, who's described as being red twice. We see Solomon being described as red twice. And the last place I want to show you before we get back to the video, in Lamentations 4 and 7, the Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. Okay, this whiter is talking about the same thing, dazzling. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body. Ruddy this time, they use the root word Adam, which means to show blood in the face. See that? To show blood in the face, that is to flush or turn rosy, right? So now, using your analogy, when you say, oh, Gentiles, Europeans, they turn white. If you put some on their face, they turn red all over, right? So if that teaching is supposed to be true and accurate, then that means that the Nazarites were white. Okay. Now let's continue. So let's let him go ahead and continue to talk about the red, and we're going to go to the next phase of this.
Go ahead.
All over like a hairy garment.
Hairy baby.
And they called his name Esau.
This firstborn child was named Esau, which means wasted away is he. So it said he came out red. Read the next verse.
Okay, let me stop for a second. Please provide proof of that. It doesn't say Esau's name means wasteful. If you look at Esau, okay, right here, let's do it real quick. Okay, Esau is defined right here as Esau, which means what? Handling rough, right? Handling rough. That's what the name means, handling rough, right? So, which that also means the same thing as where he said that he came out red all over like a hairy garment. It just simply means that he had rough, his frizzles on his skin, on his hair rather, was rough. So he was hairy, but he wasn't like a caveman, but he had hair just like I have hair on my arms, right? Everybody don't have hair in their arms. I have hair on my arms and different places in my body. I mean, but everybody else can grow hair, but that doesn't make me an Edomite because I got hair. It just means that I came out hairy, right? And I have a hairy body, okay? But so no, Esau does not mean, if Esau just means rough, it says right here, Esau, it says handling rough, that is sensibly felt, right? Now, it also says from 62:13. So if you go to 62:13, strong asa, which means to make, broadcast, sense, in a wide application. So nothing about no being wasteful or worthless, right? But just simply just mean to be rough, right? Okay. Now let's go back to Nathaniel.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. Mm-hmm. And his name was called Jacob. Mm-hmm. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him.
Wait, there's something's going on. I want you to notice something. Do you notice it gave the color of the elder child, but it did not mention the color of the younger child, Jacob? Why didn't it mention Jacob's color? Because Jacob was the same color as his mother, his father, and all the people in the Bible. From Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, all the way up. Black. Different shades of brown.
No, it doesn't say anything about anybody being different shades of brown. Different shades of red, we all are. Even black is a different shade of red. But it doesn't say nothing about different shades of brown, right? But anyway, it's not relevant that they didn't mention what Jacob looked like or Jacob looked like because, Esau came out different. They didn't just mention what Jacob didn't look like because it didn't matter. No, they were just making the distinction that even though they were twins, one came out a different tone color than the other twin, right? So that's all the text is saying. It's not saying anything more or anything less. It's just saying that they came out with two different skin tone color. They were twins with two different skin tone colors, right? To show the difference, to distinguish the difference between. It didn't say anywhere that he was white. The red ruddy just simply means that he had a red tone color. Now, you can go to a web link and look at some people that have red tonations. I'm not going to do that for this video. I don't want to kind of make it too long. I'm trying to get to this point so I can close this out. Okay, let's go back to Nathaniel's points he's making here.
But Esau, his older brother, was different. It said he came out red. Okay? Now, When we down south, what do we tend to call white people down south? Rednecks.
That's irrelevant, whether you call them rednecks or not. That don't mean that they're Esau. That's a philosophy, and that's not in the scripture. We didn't read that in the text. You're reading into the text and making that say something that it's not saying. It's not saying that Esau was the white man. That's your spin on it, and that's not accurate. It's a misrepresentation of the text. Okay, continue.
Why we call them rednecks? Because it ain't just their neck that gets red when they're in the sun. Their whole body, from the top of their head to the soles of their feet, get red. Okay, read on.
Verse 27. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents.
Come on.
And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob.
So Isaac loved the elder boy because the inheritance supposedly supposed to go to the elder boy. But it said, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Rebekah, as you read on, she understood what the Lord had prophesied already. Come on.
Okay, now I want to point something out here since I brought this up here. Let's do this. I want to show you some red people here so you can see. Let's see. These are light-skinned people that would be classified as red. These are some women. I just pulled up. African-American light-skinned. See that? They're all different shades of red. Right? All different shades of red. Okay? That's all that's talking about. They were born different shades of red. These are light-skinned women with different shades. They all have red tones. They're different shades of red. Right? Now look at Serena Williams. Okay? She's a different shade of red, but she's a darker shade of red, which would make her not black, but it would make her a deep, dark complexion, right? We've labeled that as being black, but black is her top, right? So, you know, some would say, like Nathaniel just said, brown. Is that brown? Okay. Well, red could be also a type of brown because that's where brown comes from, right? You look at, for example, let me just show you this real quick. Hold on a second. Let's just do this real quick. I want to look at red. Let's see. Let's look at light-skinned African-American males and just show you a couple examples of them. Okay. All right. So here's some light-skinned African-American males that are red, right? Different shades of red, right? Light skin, right? This brother here, he's a reddish brown. Okay, it's still a different shape of red. If you know anything about printing, when you get paper, when you get ink, right? All these colors come together to make certain colors, right? So red mixed with the black will make the brown. All right. So that means that when the father Adam was created, he had the ability to make different shades of red, from high yellow red to light and bright and almost white to blue black, right? Okay, now, so that's what Adam means. Every individual that come from Adam is a different shade of red, right? There's no such thing as black and white people. We know that. Okay, so now I want to show you something else. Let's look at something called the red heifer. Okay, show you some pictures of the red heifer. All right. Okay. See that? The red heifer. These are red heifers, different shades of red. Even this one, look at him. He's a red, but he's a darker red. These are lighter red. So that's like a good comparison to what Esau and Yaakov looked like when they came out. They came out with two different tones, right? Esau came out red like this one here, and Yaakov came out like the others that were born. Okay, so there you have your red. Now let's get back to Nathaniel's teaching. Okay.
And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I'm faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage. Meaning that same red pottage that you got in that plate, that bowl right there. It says, because it looked like him. With that same red pottage. And it said, therefore his name was called what?
Therefore was his name called Edom.
Okay, now red pottage. So let's do that here. Okay, red pottage. Let's see. All right, red pottage. Okay, let's get a picture here so you can let us see. Red pottage is basically red lentils. So let's do red lentil soup. Okay. So here you go. You have this, just a picture here of red lentils here, right? So the so-called white people don't look that color. That's just a red. And but that was just how he was compared to in the text that we just read. Okay. So it's not saying that he was white. Okay. Let's see how much time we got. Half an hour. Let's continue. Okay. We're going to skip through some things because he doesn't do the video presentation. So let's go back here.
We're going to look up this word Edom. E-D-O-M. Okay,
we did that already.
Let's get a Bible dictionary for me.
Okay.
Look that up for me. Edom. Let's find out about it.
So using the Bible dictionary.
Okay. We got the Zondervan Bible Dictionary.
Right.
I'm going to put it up on the screen for you.
I have it with
Okay, I
me
want
right
you
here.
to notice something about Edom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Edom.
What page are you on?
I'm on page 141.
Go ahead.
Edom, Edomites, the nation and its people who were the descendants of Esau. He is found in the country, so his name is equated with Edom. Genesis 25:30 and 36.
Did it tell you what it means, Edom? Yeah, you didn't read this part, the first part. Edom, Edomites, red.
Right. Edom, Edomites, red.
Right. It's telling you what it means. Okay, then it tells you what?
The nation and its people who were the descendants of Esau.
Now jump to the last paragraph of that meaning. Turn the page.
Right.
Last paragraph. Listen good.
Edom figures prominently in the prophetic scriptures as the scene of great future judgments.
Great future judgment. Now the scholars put this together. You blacks, you're not scholars, so you just sit back and listen. Go ahead.
See notably Isaiah 34 and 5, 6, 63 and 1.
You know,
she's the only neighbor of the Israelites.
I like Nathaniel's humor. He's a funny guy, though. You blacks, sit down. You're not scholars. Okay, continue.
Who was not given any promise of mercy from God.
Oh, wait. The Edomites is the what?
Who was not given any promise of mercy from God.
So John 3:16 is out the window right there. John 3:16, you don't even understand that verse. We're going to deal with that later on. Not on this
Yes,
episode,
we will.
on this show, but later.
Right.
This book, Redheads.
Look at the Redheads.
Okay, by Joel Meyerowitz. Okay. They show you, I want you to see something. I'm going to turn to the back of this page. They call them redheads. His hair is red. Now, we call them white people, but what color is his t-shirt? His t-shirt is white. But what color is if his t-shirt is white, what color is his skin? Red!
You gotta go to work.
I'm doing the shrunken. So I can drive to the hospital.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm just doing a recording.
Oh, okay, no.
Yeah.
Can you take me to the $3 dollar store?
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was my son. Sorry about that. Okay. Now let me get back.
Red! The blood shows through their skin, brothers and sisters. Okay? Now I'm going to show you some more clips inside the book, but now let's get back. Where are you at now?
Redheads.
Genesis 27, verse 38.
Go ahead.
And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father?
Because the father just said, I gave the blessing to Jacob. He tricked me. Go ahead.
Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
Esau cried. Go ahead.
And Isaac his father answered and said unto him,
Now I want you to listen good to this blessing upon Esau, father of the Edomites.
Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Uh-oh, so what does this mean? Because right here, his dwelling was not the fatness of the earth. So what does that mean? Prophetically, it means the Edomites would dwell the best places on earth. They would cover the earth and conquer. It's going to say that. Go ahead.
It says, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth,
Best places on earth.
and of the dew of the heaven from above.
The dew of heaven covers every place on earth, meaning prophetically the Edomites will cover everywhere. Go ahead.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
We wanted to get that. How would they live in the best places on earth? How would they cover the earth?
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
Esau would conquer nation after nation after nation. Remember the characteristics of Esau, a cunning hunter. Isaac prophetically said what?
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
Go ahead. We're just reading down to verse 30. Go ahead.
Verse 40, right? That's what I'm reading. Right?
Yeah, verse 40, I'm sorry.
And shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass.
And thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass.
When thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
That happened in 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 20 to 22. You can read that on your own. It tells you that the Edomites revolted under a king named Jeroboam. Okay? And they bolted out and set up their own king.
Right.
Was that it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I want to make a point real quick. Everything he said about Esau, as far as to him having the fatness of heaven, the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, the same thing that Isaac or Isaac promised Esau, he promised that also to Jacob, right? So if we look at verse 28, okay, verse 28, same chapter 27. Therefore, Elohim, give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. See that? So that was the promise to Yaakov, to have the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine, right? So now you go back down to what he read, which was, I think, 30, was it 39? Said, right, 39. Isaac his father answered and said to him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven of above. So now, we can say from his logic that the promise was given to both to have the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. So if you want to use that analogy, then they can rightfully claim and say, hey, we are the people because, hey, look at who has the fatness of the earth now, right? So if that applies to Esau, fatness of the earth and all that, the only one difference that was added to that was you shall live by the sword, right? Now, it does not say in the text, brother Nathan said that it said that that Esau would conquer nation after nation after nation, right? Now, it does not say that. Now, what I want to do is in the book of Jasher, chapter 90, I'm going to do that real quick because I want you to see something here. So let's look at the book of Jasher real quick, chapter 90. I'm going to show you what happened because Esau didn't conquer in 2 Kings. Esau was conquered. He was conquered, right? Esau, as a matter of fact, had already had his nation set up. he had kingdoms. If you go to chapter, I think it's 36, you talk about the kings of Esau, the dukes of Esau, right? Not the Dukes of Hazzard. But chapter 90, it says that, let's just read a little bit of it. It says, at the time of the 5th year, the children of Israel had passed over Jordan, and there the children of Israel had rested from war with the Canaanites. At that time, a severe battle arose between Edom and the children of Chittim. The children of Chittim fought against Edom. Abinus, the king of Chittim, went forth in that year, that is the 31st year of his reign, and great force with him, and the mighty men of the children of Chittim. He went to Seir to fight against the children of Esau. Hadad, the king of Edom, heard of his report, and he went forth to meet him with heavy people and strong force, and engaged in battle with him in the field of Edom. See that? So he went to fight against Chittim. Now we're going to show you in a minute who Chittim is, right? But let's continue reading. And the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau, and the children of Chittim rather slew the children of Esau 22,000 men. And all the children of Esau fled from before them. And the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad, king of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive and brought him to Abinus, the king of Chittim. Abinus ordered him to be slain. Then Hadad, king of Edom, died in the 48th year of his reign. See that? So Hadad died in the 48th year of his reign, it says right there in the text, right? Now let's continue. It says, the children of Chittim continued to pursue Edom, and they smote them with great slaughter, and Edom became subject unto the children of Chittim. And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim, and became one kingdom from that day. See that? So the children of Chittim and the children of Esau became one kingdom. So Chittim was a separate kingdom. Esau had a separate kingdom. They went to fight and went to war against each other, and the kingdom of Chittim conquered them, and they became one people. Now watch what happens here. Verse 9, from that day they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim. See that? So their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim. And Abinus placed officers in Edom, right? So he did what? Colonized. He placed officers in Edom. The children of Edom became subject to the tributary to Abinus, and Abinus turned back to his own land, Chittim, right? So Abinus went back to his land called Chittim. We're going to tell you what it is in a minute, right? And he returned to renew his government, and built for himself spacious fortified palace for a royal residence, and reigned securely over the children of Chittim, over Edom. So you see, Romans were synonymous for establishing royal, right? It says here, royal residence. They were notorious for that. They continued to do that, right? The children of Chittim. Okay, I kind of gave you a hit as to who they are, but we're gonna let you see in a minute. And when he returned to renew his government and built for himself spacious fortified royal residence, and reigned securely over the children of Chittim and over Edom. And in those days, after the children of Israel had driven away all the Canaanites and the Amorites. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to stop there. So now in chapter 90, we see that Abinus fought against Hadad, slew Hadad, and slew 22,000 men, right? He slew 22,000 men of Esau. That's in verse 11, I think. Is that right? No, it's not 11. Let's see where we at. Verse 4, it says, and the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau. Right here, I'm going to highlight it so you can see it. And the children of Chittim slew of the children of Esau 22,000 men, and all the children of Esau fled before them. So they pursued them, and they reached Hadad and killed him, right? And then they caught them alive, and Abinus ordered him killed. And then he reigned over him. The children of Chittim pursued Edom, and they smote them with great slaughter, and Edom became subject to the children of Chittim. So we see that's Esau's kingdom became one kingdom with the children of Chittim. Now I want to do this. Let's continue to look at this here. If we go to chapter 10, right, we'll see this is the book of Jasher, chapter 10, right? descendants of Noah. And if we go down to verse, let's just do this here so we can see where we are. Okay, talking about the children of Japheth, right? So if we look at, where does it start at? With Japheth. Okay, verse 6. The sons of Japheth, right here, I'm gonna highlight it. The sons of Noah went and built themselves cities where they were scattered, and they called their cities after their names. And the sons of Japheth were divided upon the face of the earth into many divisions and languages, right? So all of those sons of Japheth include what? Gomer, right here. Gomer, Magog, Madai, Yavon, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. We're talking about what Gomer is Germany, Magog, Madai. Magog is Russia, and Madai is the Medes. Yavon, it includes the Spanish and the Romans, right? Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus are other clans of those seafaring sons of Japheth, right? Now, if we go down to verse 16 without spending a whole lot of time, verse 13 said, the children of Yavon are Yavanim who dwell in the land of Macedonia. See that? This is Macedonia, right? So the children of Yavon are the Yavanim who dwell in the land of Macedonia. Now, later on, Brother Nathaniel is going to cover Alexander the Greek, who came from Macedonia. That's his people. He came from Yavon, who dwelled in the land of Macedonia, right? We're going to see that later on, okay? So keep that in mind. Put that in your memory bank. We can come back to that, right? So now let's continue. I want to show you who the Chittim are. So go down, skip down to verse 16. I'm highlighted right here. Okay, it says here, the children of Chittim are the Romans who dwell in the valley of Canopia by the river of Tibre. Okay, or Tiberia. I think there's Tiberia, but it says Tibreu. So they changed some of these names. If you go to the book, The Works of Josephus, he tells you that the Greeks changed some of the names of the people. So it kind of, if you don't really know how they changed the names, it can kind of get you confused as to who's who, because they Hellenized different names, changed the names, right? So that's it. Just like, for example, Egypt is a Hellenized name of Mizraim, right? Ethiopia is a Hellenized name of Cush. Right? Okay, just to name a few. Okay, so there we see that. So Chittim are the Romans, right? So the Romans were a separate people from Esau. Esau didn't come from Rome. Rome conquered Esau, and Esau, not like Brother Nathaniel said, Esau didn't conquer land, nation after nation after nation, right? Esau established his own nation, and eventually he was conquered by the Romans, the sons of Yavon, right? Okay, back to the lesson.
Okay, now from there, let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. I'm going to show you something real heavy. But you know what? Before I want you to get 1 Maccabees.
Okay, he can read some other stuff.
Jehovah wicked, lying Jehovah Witnesses. I've met many of their leaders. They say the Edomites was destroyed by King Saul. When you read in the book of Samuel, King Saul only destroyed one city of the Edomites. And he didn't even kill all of them. Okay? So, were they all destroyed? No. Who are the Edomites? I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go to this book.
Okay, hold on a second. Before he do that,
more scholarly,
I'm going to do one of his numbers. Before he do that, I'm going to do this here. Okay? Let's look at Genesis chapter 36, right? And we're going to talk about Esau had his own kingdom. He didn't need to have a kingdom or go and conquer other people. He established and developed his own kingdom in his own land. That's why I talked about there were two different nations. He was going to be two nations in her womb, right? Just like Ishmael was another nation. He formed nations of sons, and many of the Ishmaelites are Arabs, and I don't mean the white Arabs. Some of them may possibly be white, but primarily the Arab is a Hebrew word that just means a mixture, crossing of tribal origins. right? For example, when the Hamites crossed over with the Shemites, that would be considered an Arab, right? So Ishmael populated most of Saudi Arabia, and to this very day, the mass majority of the Saudi Arabian people are darker complexions, right? They're Ishmaelites, right? Some of them are Edomites too as well, right? So East Edom has some dark seed, as well as Edom has some lighter seed that mixed with the Romans, as we seen in the book of Jasher. So Esau had children, and one child doesn't represent the whole Edomite nation. That's what you got to get. So when you say Esau, Edom, and Idumea, right? Esau is an individual who had children. Edom was his land, right? And Idumea was his nation. And in the Idumean nation, you have other sons. We're going to say this real quick in this 36th chapter, right? These are the generations of Esau, who is Edom, right? Edom means what? The twin brother of Yaakov. See that? The elder twin brother. See what it says right there? It says from red, 123, right? So real quick, going back, 123, red, and it says Adon, rosy red. There you go. So same red that Adam had. Continue now. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan. Oh, so Esau had Hamitic wives. He had wives of the daughters of Canaan, Adah and Elon the Hittite, and Aholibama, daughter of Anah and daughter of Zibeon and Hivite. Right? So Esau married Canaanites. Now, just in case you don't know, Judah married Canaanites as well, right? Judah married Tamar, I should say. Judah had a Canaanite wife, and then he gave a daughter of Canaan to his son, and his son was wicked, as it says, if you read that. And then Tamar, she was given to, I think, the other son, and the other son didn't want to bring up seed for his brother, so he wasted the semen and he was killed. I think that's how the story goes. And then she wanted the other son, and Yehuda said no. So when his wife died, he spotted her, you know the story, and thought she was a harlot, and he went and had relationship with her. I say it like that, keep it PG for the children, in case the children watching. And then he had a son rather, by her, right? And so the son was one of the progenitors of the Messiah, right? Okay, let me just show you real quick in here. So, because I mentioned this the other day. Okay, so Tamar, right? Let's see, she had if we go to the genealogies, they call her Thamar, Thamar, right? And so it said Yehuda begat Phares and Zerah of Tamar. That's Tamar. It says Thamar of Tamar. So he begot Phares and Zerah of Tamar. Phares begot Ezram, and Ezram begot Aram. Right? See that? Now, so that's Tamar. She was a Canaanite, right? The Canaanite. If you go back, let's do this right quick. I'm going to get back in here. Okay. Let's see. He begot, and Judah begot Phares and Tamar, and begot Phares and Zerah of Tamar, and Phares begot Ezram, and Ezram begot Aram, right? Okay. So she was the Canaanite. So let me just show you this real quick, because I got to show you, and I can get back to the video. Okay. All right. All right, hold on a second here. Can't find it. All right, here we go. In Genesis chapter 38 and 6, Judah took a wife, the firstborn. Her name was Tamar, right? Now, where does this say she was a Canaanite? Let me see. Hold on a second. Hold on one second here. See, she was a Canaanite. Here we go. Yehuda or Judah saw there. This is verse 2. Let's look at verse 1 and 2. It came to pass at the time when Judah went down from his brother, he turned into a certain Dulamite whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went into her. She conceived and bore a son. His name was called And she conceived again and bore another son. His name is called Onan, right? And she yet conceived and bore a son called his name Shelah, right? And he was at Chezib when she bore him. Okay, now. So then Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar, right? See, there you go, Tamar. So she was a Canaanite, right? Now, with that said, let's go back to the table of Esau. We see that Esau married the Canaanites. Secondly, in verse 3, it says, and Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, the sister of Nabaal. So Esau married an Ishmaelite, daughter of Ishmaelite. So we know Ishmaelites were a combination of the Hebrew progenitor Abraham and Hagar, right? So Esau married an Ishmaelite. And Adah, it says, Adah bore Esau Elphaz, Bashemath, and bore Ruel. You continue reading that. Aholibama bore Jeush and Jalam and Korah, and these are the sons of Esau. So you got, so if you look at this here, you see Esau had, let's count them right quick. Okay, now these generations of Esau took wives, daughters Canaanite, daughter, and daughter, and daughter of Havite, Bashemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister. Okay. So Bashemath was Ishmael's daughter's sister. See that? So he kept it in the family, right? Adah bore Esau. Okay. Adah, which is what? She is the Canaanite. Okay. She bore Esau Elphaz 1, Bashemath 2. Okay. So she bore Elphaz. Okay. And Elphaz had a son called Bashemath and Ruel. So that's his grandsons, Bashemath and Ruel. So they're Edomite descendants, right? Elphaz was the son. So you got one son and two grandsons, right? Then you got Aholibama, she was the other Hittite. She bore Juash, right? And Jalam. So now that's three sons, Forb and Korah. These are the sons of Esau, which it says, these are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. So those are his sons right there. Now, Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the persons of the house and the cattle and all the beasts and all substance which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For the riches were more than that they might dwell together. And the land wherein there were strangers could not bear them because of the cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in the mount of Seir. Esau is Edom, right? So now if you look here, it talks about the generations of Edom. These are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons. Elphaz is one. Adah, the son of Adah, wife of Esau. Ruel, that's two, the son of Bashemath, the wife of Esau. Okay, verse 11. Sons of Elphaz were Teman, Omar, Zephu, and Gatam, and Kenaz. So that's five right there, five grandsons. And Timnah was concubine to Elphaz. So now you're adding more to that. Esau's sons bore to Elphaz Amalek, right? And these were sons of Adah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Ruel, Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, Mizah, and these are the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. And these were sons of Aholibama, daughter of Anah, the daughter of Zebulun, Esau's wife. And she bore to Esau Jeush, Jalam, Korah. These are the dukes. Now after Esau established a kingdom, These are the dukes or leaders. Dukes, not talking about Dukes of Hazzard. Duke just means aloof, which means a familiar friend. It's also a gentle, hence a bullock. Okay. Although masculine, a cow, chieftain, right? Or a chieftain or a governor, right? Okay. So you have Duke Korah, Duke Gatam, Duke Amalek. These are the dukes of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Adah. These are the sons of Ruel, Esau's son, Duke Nahath, Duke Zerah, Duke Shema, Duke Mizah. These are dukes that came through Ruel, the land of Edom. These are the sons of Beshma, Esau's wife. And these are the sons of Aholibama, Esau's wife, Duke Juice, Duke Jalam, Duke Korah. These are the dukes that came from Aholibama, the daughter of Anah, Esau's wife. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. Right? These are the sons of Seir. Okay, sons of Seir, the Horites who inhabited the land: Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan, and the dukes of the Horites, the children of Seir in the land of Edom. Right? Children of Lotan were Hori, Haman, Lotan, sister Timnah. Children of Shobal were these: Alvin, Mahath, Ebal, Shepho, Onam. And these are the children of Zibeon, both Ajah, Anah, and these were Anah found the Muse wilderness as they fed the asses of the Zibeon his father. The children of Anah were these: Dishan, Aholibama, the daughter of Anah, and these are the children of Dishan: Hebdan, Eshban, and Ithram, and Shuran. Right? Children of Ezer are these: Bilhan, Zavan, Akan. The children of Dishan are these: Uz, Aran. These are the dukes that came Horites: Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Zibeon, Duke Anah. Duke Dishan, Duke Ezer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of Hori among their dukes in the land of Seir. Right? These are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom before there reigned any king over the children of Israel. See that? And Bela, son of Beor, reigned in Edom. The name of his city was called Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Jobab, the son of Zerah, and Bozbazra reigned in his stead. Jobab died, and Husham of the land of Timnah reigned in his stead. Husham died, and Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian, right, in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead, and the name of his city was Aviv. Right? Hadad died, and Shamath of Masrakah reigned in his stead. Now, just a little footnote. If you look at verse 35, you see it says that they died in the field of Moab. But you said Moab is China and Japan. But yet Moab, here we see Edomites dying in the field of Moab. So Moab had territory. We can look at that. We can look at it another time. But Moabites had a land near Esau, right? Not China and Japan, brother. 36. Hadad died, and Samlah of Mechrakah reigned in his stead. And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth by the river of the reigned in his stead, right? And Saul, we'll say it from the English perspective. Saul died in Baal Hanan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his stead, and Baal Hanan, the son of Akbor, died in Hagar, reigned in his stead, and the name of the city was called Paul, and the wife's name was Methabel, the daughter was Matred, the daughter of Mezhab, right? And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau according to their families, after their places, by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alva, Duke Jitheth, Duke Aholibama, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Timnah, Duke Mizbar, Duke Madiel, Duke Iram. These are the dukes of Edom according to their habitations, their lands and possessions, right? He is Esau, the father of the Edomites. So I went through all that to show you that the kingdom of Esau was established before there was a king in Israel. So they have their own separate kingdom from the Roman people. Rome is not Esau. as he was going to show in this book. So let's go back to him. I want to try to close this out. Let's let him talk a little bit about this, but I want to move to the next phase, okay?
Civilization.
Matter of fact, let's get past that.
Go to page 94.
Let's go to Maccabees real quick.
It's a segue to the book of Maccabees. Because Alexander the Greek was the first Edomite.
He stole my line. I started at Alexander the Greek.
Some of you might be cunning and think you're smart and go, but the Greeks came from Japhet. Didn't Isaac tell Esau, and by thy sword thou shalt live?
Now, we already proved that point that he's about to address the sons. We read that in the book of Jasher, right? The Greeks came from the land. Alexander the Greek came from the land of Macedonia. We read that in the book of Jasher. He didn't come from Edom. So that's wrong. Okay. Neither did he come from Rome, because Rome conquered him. So Esau was already established when Rome came on the scene and built their kingdom and took over Esau. Right? Let's continue.
Meaning the Edomites would conquer everybody. They conquered Japhet's son Javan, which became known as Greece.
We already proved that.
Now, First Maccabees chapter 1, we want verse 1 and 2, then we're going to jump down.
First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam.
Now, this might be too heavy for some of you Negroes, because for years you've been so miseducated in your church system that's been set up by your slave masters that what is this?
Might sound foreign to you.
Right. Read it again.
And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetam, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
Keep reading. Keep going.
That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
Because Alexander was the first king over Greece. He was the first Edomite king that had unified and rallied all the Edomites together. That's why the Apocrypha had to be taken out the Bible. Because what do they teach us in school? Civilization started with who do they teach? The Greeks. But we're going to see what God says. Keep going.
Verse 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth.
Alexander did what?
Slew the kings of the earth.
What did Isaac tell Esau? By thy sword thou shalt live. They should dwell in the fatness of the earth, the best places.
Right.
And they should cover the earth as the dew. Keep going.
Verse 3. And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations.
Many who?
Many nations. Insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
Alexander killed and slaughtered all the dark nations. Was that it on that?
Whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up.
What verse was that?
Verse 3.
That was verse 3. Jump down. I just want to get to the point. Jump down to verse 7 to 9.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
Alexander the Great ruled 12 years and then died. Go ahead.
And his servants bare rule everyone in his place.
He had 4 major generals. Come on.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years.
Watch this.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
What happened when the white man came in power?
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
What happened when the Edomites came in power?
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
You see why they had to remove the Apocrypha from the Holy Bible? Because they could never teach us. Civilization started with the Greeks, as long as that was in the Bible. Because we'd be going, wait a minute. What you talking about civilization? God says evils were multiplied in the earth when you came in power. The so-called white man, the Edomites, which are really red. So this had to be removed from the Bible.
Nathaniel sound like he was a Baptist preacher.
Ezekiel chapter 36.
Okay, so his point is that
I'm gonna show you something
that the Greeks are Esau, and that's the reason why they took the Maccabees out, because the Maccabees proved that Esau was wicked. But we just proved to you, and we can go to the book, as we said, we can go to Maccabees and prove that they are not Edomites in the book of Maccabees. But I'm not going to do that for the sake of time. I'm going to have to do a part 2 because I'm getting close to the end of the time that I wanted to spend on this. So I really wanted to finish this in an hour's time, but kind of added that reading part of the descendants of Edom. Maybe I'll clip that out and make a separate section of that. Okay, let's continue.
Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea.
That word Idumea, that might throw you off there. Let's go back to the Bible dictionary now, because scholars like to be slick in the use of words. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, spell Idumea, I-D-U-M-E-A. Okay, bear with me a second. Let me find it.
Got it.
I-D-U. It's right
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. And we're going to go ahead and just take a little break here. I'm going to come back with part 2. So we'll continue this series on Esau, Jacob and Esau, IUIC. Prayerfully, you got something out of what we shared thus far, and it was able to edify you. You was able to see and compare with what the scripture says versus what the popular teaching that Esau is a white man is. Now stay tuned for part 2. We're going to finish with his dissertation, and then we're going to cover the book of Obadiah. Right? So stay tuned. Till next time. Shalom, shalom, shalom.